internet of value at Ripple, we're thinking much bigger than just cross-border payments. It's kind of like Amazon with rare books in the early days, just this market happens to be a $10 trillion market.
We are at a historic turning point.
Said in the past that you are doing for money what email did for communication.
Moving the whole revolution forward.
Take on it.
There's trillions of dollars parked around the world. XRP.
Is there a possibility that Ripple could take over Swift one day?
Well,
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of 24 Hours Crypto. Let's get right into today's video. I'm sure many of you guys heard about how many people hold one full Bitcoin, and that number is less than 850,000 people on this planet that hold one full Bitcoin. And a lot of people think that's crazy. It is. But you know what's more crazy? The amount of individuals that hold more than 1,000 XRP on this planet is roughly the same amount as the one Bitcoin club. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax. We are living in a world of delusion right now because a lot of people want to brag and talk down about Ripple and XRP and how they control the supply. But little do they forget that Tron also controls over 60% of the Tron supply, just in Sun. And you could see that by just the price stability and why it is so important for these projects to actually have a percentage of their tokens. And these aren't locked in escrow like Ripple is, right? I'm going to give you the bigger picture of what is being designed right now and have everybody's getting distracted. Even the CEO, the previous CEO of Binance, holds 64% of the BNB supply. You cannot make this up. Sit back, relax, because I want to give you a perspective today and I want your opinions in the comments down below. And also, generational bottoms, folks. Generational bottoms. This is insanity. The next 120 days is going to be monumental. And if you guys miss out on this long opportunity for XRP, it's giving you a lot of chances to set yourself up right now for a very, very good entry at these prices. I'm going to get into that and what I think is going to play out in the near future. But where do I even begin? Let's talk about the fact that the escrow means nothing and how everybody that holds XRP right now is going to get rewarded very handsomely, but it is such a hard psychological game that we're all going through, but I want you guys to stay strong because the outcome is going to be monumental. Everyone loves to complain. They love it, but they don't say anything about Tron or BNB and other coins. But Ripple locked their supply in escrow in an open, transparent way for the world to see, because you got to understand that this was designed with banks in mind from day one. That escrow was never created for retail. It's not for traders on exchanges trying to scalp pennies. It's for regulated institutions that require predictable liquidity to move trillions across the globe. And if I could find the video by Ryan Zagone back in 2015 at the Federal Reserve talking about XRP, talking about the tokenomics, it is monumental. And this is where people get lost because they don't understand tokenomics. Think outside the box here. Bitcoin, it doesn't have utility in payments. It doesn't provide liquidity rails. Its entire model is you buy and you hope someone richer than you buys next. And then the number goes up. That's it. That's not value. That's delusion. If BlackRock, MicroStrategy, if a handful of whales dump their Bitcoin tomorrow and we don't even know who these individuals are, it goes to zero. That's the brutal truth nobody wants to admit. The value is entirely psychological. Bitcoin doesn't solve anything. Now compare that to XRP. XRP's value comes from something very different. It comes from liquidity and velocity. The reason Ripple holds XRP in escrow is to meter supply into the market slowly, in line with real institutional demand. Think about that. If you release it all at once, price collapses. If you drip it into the markets as utility grows, it creates deep liquidity pools. That's what banks need. That's how cross-border corridors stay stable. And that's why XRP is structured the way it is. And here's the reality. Retail doesn't even own that much XRP, right? When you look at the distribution XRP rich list, most wallets are tiny. The majority of real liquidity is being reserved, structured, and prepared for institutions. That's by design. This is not about quick pumps, ladies and gentlemen. This is about building the rails for the future of finance. The escrow ensures that when banks finally flip the switch, they don't run into a liquidity wall. Even if you think about the 2008 crisis, it was a liquidity collapse, okay? And let me be very clear. This is why Salute follows the same principle. That's why we escrowed 69%. Not because we're hiding it, not because it's a scam, but because if you want to build something institutions will one day trust, you need structure. You need to show discipline. You need to think about fair markets, not pump and dump markets. That's what creates longevity. Now step back and look where we are.
Determines the value of an XRP, because I mean right now it's trading just a little between 0.005 and it was at 1.6 cents. So what's controlling the underlying value of the currency? Is it supply and demand, or
it's strictly supply and demand, and that demand is just up entirely to market forces to determine what that is. And again, short term, like probably anything else, and particularly in something new like this, very unpredictable, certainly very volatile. And again, this is why we think that most people will not want to think about XRP as the thing that they are going to be buying things in, right? We think most people are going to be using dollar, euro, yen, airline miles, whatever. And in our system, they don't have to think about XRP. We think market makers will think about XRP. And so markets can be driven by them. It can be driven by, really any reason. I think long term, though, it is this notion that the primary use is to be something that enables market making, which is really helping to facilitate medium of exchange. And we think that's probably like any currency or any thing of value, probably the most important kind of source of demand. And again, that's long term as more and more folks come on the protocol. That's long term as more and more folks come on the protocol.
September, October, November, December. We've got 120 days left this year. Right now, XRP is sitting at $2.74, and I know people are impatient, but ask yourself, what are you going to say when XRP is at $5 by the end of the year? What are you going to say when the same escrow that retail mocked becomes the foundation that institutions rely on to move trillions daily? This is not like Bitcoin where you just hope for a greater fool to buy in. This is real utility, real corridors, real settlement infrastructure. You can't print more XRP like you can print fiat. You can't inflate it away. Like, folks, the supply is capped. The escrow, they structured it since day one. And there's going to be a massive liquidity demand that we're all about to witness. So when people, talk about Ripple's insider trading or whatever they're going to talk about, remember, Ripple didn't design it for you and me flipping coins on exchange. They designed it for the banks. They designed it for the long game. And when that demand finally collides with finite supply, that's when the real move happens. Do you think Rosie Rios, like why do you think she would ruin her reputation and her name? And that's just one individual, right? To come on and sit at the board of Ripple for years now, right? So 120 days left in 2025. TikTok, the clock is running. And I want you guys to really think outside the box here and set yourself up for generational wealth, because we are about to, I know it sounds crazy, but with these prices, you guys are going to dream about. Look, I know many of you guys still dream about the 28 cents, the 30 cents, the 50 cents, wish you bought more. And guess what? Me too. And the fact that if I sit here and if I wish that I bought more XRP, I cannot even imagine the people that are just getting into the markets in 2025, how they think, right? Or how they feel, because realistically speaking, it is game over. It is game over, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but guess what? It's reality. And we are about to see a major move that is going to completely price everybody out, right? And even when we get into these charts right now, when we go to the 1 weekly candle for XRP candle chart, this right now, this has got to hold support at these levels. I mean, it could come for a quick little dip to the 250 level and bounce right back up, but 225 is going to be such a crucial, or even right here, right? The 250 mark has been playing support and resistance for a very long time here. for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for weeks. And right now we are going to see this next trend up, and it's going to happen when you guys least expect it. Even if we take a look at World Liberty Financial, I said I'm going to keep you guys updated on this. Look at this. It came all the way to 39 cents, dumped all the way down to my entry, and now it's looking to come back up. In my opinion, there's still room to grow here. I haven't done anything with this trade. Like I said, this is a pure gamble. I have it open still. This was up $900, almost $1,000 when it was at 39 cents. I did not take any profits because, again, everybody has their own trading games. This is a pure gamble of $200, and I'm going to see if I could hold this out for 50 cents or even potentially $1. Let's see how this goes. But I'm kind of shocked with the performance. It's, again, pure market manipulation, folks. This is purely, it's disgusting to be like, honestly, this whole crypto ecosystem sometimes really disgusts me because, like, many of you guys all know now, it's just purely manipulation until real money comes in. Because once you see the trillions flood into this ecosystem, manipulating the market is going to be so hard. It's going to be crazy. And when you have real utility running on these blockchains, it's going to be extremely hard to do any kind of thing you want to do here. Okay, it's going to the days of these ups and downs, like drastic moves, are going to come to an end. So before we get into 2026, the next 120 days, do whatever you can to accumulate as much as you can, because this is the same moment that we lived back in November when I was telling you guys we were about to see this next leg up, and then we saw it. We went to 360. Now we are about to witness the next leg up to 4, 5, 6, and potentially a $9, $10 XRP by the end of this year. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I mean, you really can't mess this up. I mean, this ecosystem it lacks so much education. It's kind of disturbing. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and we'll be back with another video.
Many different forms. And then eventually, at another point comes the consolidation phase. But we're not in the consolidation. We're in the Cambian explosion phase. And every new technology explosion begins with an early stage where you have many different forms. And then eventually, at another point comes the consolidation phase. But we're not in the consolidation. We're in the Cambian explosion phase. And what's happened in the United States policy-wise is the gates have been opened up for that type of explosion of competition. And that's a good thing, ultimately, for technology innovation, because ultimately the competition will lead us to separate the wheat from the chaff, as you say, and we'll find out where the value is and where it's not. But before we get there, we need this explosion of competing instruments. You know, we in terms of the building sets of crypto, the Ethereums, the Solanas, these are cryptos in which you build on. There are still new versions of that coming forward that have greater speed, have greater transaction capability, and we need that competition. Ultimately, however, absolutely, do we need hundreds, if not thousands, of different cryptos? No, we will find that, but we're in the expansion space right now.
Chris.
They told us dream small, but we had the stars in mind. While they chased hype, we studied time. In the noise we found the signal. Brad knew just what to do. Now XRP hums like jazz, running smooth and true. Money's changing, systems bend, ripple flow into the end. Truth is quiet, bold and deep. We salute the ones who lose no sleep. Salute to the minds that built this chain. Salute, salute through the trials, through the pain. Salute, salute to the calm, to the wise. Salute 100 in our eyes. Bitcoin maxis yell on stage, stuck in loops they call belief, while XRPL just clears the way. No delay, no grief. They hoard coins like dusty gold, but we got utility in every fold. The future ain't loud, it's steady breathing. Real ones know what's worth believing. It ain't hype, it's code and soul. We salute the ones who see the whole. Salute to the builders, to the flow. Salute, salute, where the real ones choose to go. Salute, salute, to the heart, to the plan. Salute, XRP will lead the land. Value don't lie, and truth don't shake. Let the whole world break, we remake. Strategic reserve, written in stars. XRP gonna take us far. So here's to the signal, clear and bright. To the dreamers who held on tight. No matter the storm, no matter the fight. Salute, we rise with the light.
We started building RippleNet with the thesis that crypto liquidity would eventually be able to support robust global payments, large payments. RippleNet was designed so that customers seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip the switch to ODL once the market was mature enough. And this is exactly what's happening. Flip the switch.
I think what we're building has, it's solving a real problem. And I think all of the tokens, my advice to anybody would be, understand the utility. If there's real utility and there's real value being delivered to a real customer, there will be value in the token.